I have not read a single word of the Stormlight Archive, but I do spend a lot of time on the book internet, so I think that qualifies me to summarize the characters and central conflicts of the Stormlight Archive. And you guys can tell me how wrong I am in the comments. To start with, the Stormlight Archives has 3 POV characters. They are Kaladin, Dalinar, and Shallan. Kaladin is basically the Kelsier of the Stormlight Archive. He starts out as a slave and it has natural charisma and leadership skills and works his way up to becoming a god. I'm not sure if he becomes a king. He becomes a leader of some sort and ascends to godhood. This is a Brandon Sanderson book. There might be multiple characters that ascend to godhood. Kaladin also has depression, and I'm thinking he's our only POV character that has mental health things going on with him, though I'm pretty sure there are other characters in this series that also have that, because I've heard people talk about the good mental health representation in the Stormlight Archives. So there might be other side characters as well. Kaladin also has a talking sword. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a wisdomy talking sword. I don't think it's a funny talking sword, so it's not one where you swing it and it says ow. I'm pretty sure it helps the wielder make better decisions or imparts wisdom upon them. I don't think it's quite like Thor's hammer situation where you have to be worthy of the sword or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure it helps impart wisdom. I know people like Sanderson's books, or the Stormlight Archives specifically, for the talking swords. I'm not sure if Kaladin's the only character that has one of these. I believe he's our only POV character that has one of these. I think Kaladin also has storm magic, or the ability to control storms or weather or something like that. Moving on to Dalinar. Dalinar is a lot of people's favorite POV character. I get the impression he's maybe a little bit more of like the sidekick type character, even though he's a POV. He sounds more like the goofball, the fun character, very fun to be around, and just very lovable. And finally, we have Shallan. And Shallan is a character everyone hates for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but she also comes from a culture where everyone wears one glove, and they only wear that glove on their left hand, I believe, and they wear it like all the time. Hoid is also a character in these books, though I do not believe he is a POV character. Hoid is a world hopper, which means he can travel between worlds with no time spent in between for traveling. My impression of the worlds is more like very distant planets rather than alternate dimensions, although there's definitely a spiritual realm in the Stormlight Archives, and there might be like a spiritual planet that you have to be like extra spiritual to reach or something like that, but I don't believe it's like you have to go to other dimensions. I think it's just distant planets. Now, while Hoid is the only world hopper in this story, the other characters might be able to travel and hop between worlds, but they have to obtain something in order to travel between the worlds. I don't know. I know there's dawn shards and there's something else. There's dawn shards and there's like, it's not sword shards. There's some other type of shards. There's multiple types of shards, and I don't know if you have like a one of these shards, if that helps you travel between worlds. Traveling between worlds is somehow important, and so I think other characters are able to do it sometimes. Maybe they need a world hopper to take them. I'm not really sure. What is the central conflict of the Stormlight Archives? It is the Dark Lord, or the Lord Ruler, or basically the same central conflict that is in the Final Empire. Although probably the stakes or the scale's a lot higher. It might be like the Dark Lord is going to take over the entire world and ruin like all of the worlds, not just some of them. That's probably more likely that, you know, it's not a single kingdom or world he's taking over. It's like the entire universe. This is a very, very common trope in a lot of fantasy books, including Lord of the Rings. So no shade if it's a similar antagonist as the Final Empire. Okay, and most importantly, what is the Stormlight Archives? So the Stormlight Archives is like a magical spiritual library that is probably on this spirit world that you have to like somehow be spiritual in order to get to, so that way you can like obtain all the wisdomy knowledge that's contained in the library. And it's probably also telling you how to stop the Dark Lord. I know The Way of Kings is a book, and the book is rather important. I'm not sure if the book is in the Stormlight Archives or if the Way of Kings book, maybe the Way of Kings book was stolen from the Stormlight Archives and some of the spirits are mad about that. And that's why there's a threat to the world, although that's probably not the only threat to the world. I feel like for as much time as I spend on the book side of the internet, particularly the fantasy side of the internet, I still don't know that much about the Stormlight Archives. However, Wind and Truth is just about to release, and I know whenever the secret projects were releasing, particularly Tress of the Emerald Sea, it was like a massive fantasy booktube read along. Everyone was reading it at the same time, and I know Wind and Truth is going to be just as big or bigger. So I kind of want to start the Stormlight Archive with Wind and Truth as part of this massive booktube read along, because read-alongs are one of my favorite parts of booktube. And it could be fun to see how well this book works without knowledge of the previous books. Let me know in the comments all the ways I messed up my summary of the Stormlight Archives, and I hope to see you in another video. Happy reading!